in the office of Dr. Nikki Abrahams, and we're talking about changes, and I love that I sat down and the first thing that I saw was this, which says, without change, there would be no butterflies. And it's hard for a lot of us to make some changes. So Dr. Nick is going to be here to help us think about doing that and maybe getting us to do that. Great to see you.
Good to be with you too, Whitney. And it's a real special privilege to have you in my new office.
It's
talking
beautiful.
about change. I've only been here for probably 6 weeks, and you know, we all experience change. We all know how difficult it is and yet how exciting. And I love that you found that sitting on my, can we show them again?
Yeah,
without change, there are no butterflies, and it's still risky.
It is
It's
still risky.
very
And sometimes the
risky.
older we get, the harder change is. Is it we have more to lose, or we get stuck in our ways?
I remember years ago a professor of mine talking about how we have to create a center of our universe. And it's more than just saying we're creatures of habit. We need stability. We need a certain center. It's not an ego thing. So part of this is natural. We're very comfortable. Does that make sense? When my mother died, they wanted to move my father, and I said, absolutely not. He needs the stability. Now, but that's not enough to just say, okay, let's be habitual, because seasons come and change. Chapters in our life come. I'm in a new office. You've got a new show. And part of that demands risk.
I've wanted to do it for years, but I was holding back for whatever reason. And maybe it was the fear of
Failure?
Of failure,
Yeah,
of course.
absolutely, the fear of failure. I'd also say it's also the fact that there's a certain comfort. And what I struggle with though so much is people that are miserable, people that are so unhappy. And it's like, to take a chance, try something new. But there comes a time when it's like, no, maybe the new me is calling me to something else.
Oh, I felt like something was calling me.
Did
for
you?
Sure.
Did
I did,
you?
Yeah. And I really probably stayed too long, because I just hit a wall with getting up at 3:30 in the morning, like the whole exhaustion level.
Yeah.
But I loved my job and I loved who I worked with, and so it was hard to give that up.
You just struck something that I think is really important for the audience to hear, the sense of a little regret. And I think we need to face that. But what we don't want to do is get caught up in regret and say, oh, I should have done this, or I should do this, or I should do that when we make change. We also look back at those incredible moments of joy and growth and opportunity right? It's not just regret, because there's never finished business, Whitney. Life is never finished. So we have to say, I'm taking the leap, or I'm making the change. But there's no finished business until we're dead. So we have to be resolved that, no, I'm making this move, and I'm taking this risk, and I'm looking more forward to what can be instead of what I fear.
Sure. And that can be in a job, in a relationship, in parenting.
It's constant change. The real issue, if I just may, is knowing that when you're changing, there's going to be an ending. That means loss. And then there's going to be the new beginning. And in between that kind of ending and beginning, there's kind of that liminal moment, almost withdrawal. I'm not comfortable with where I am. It's almost like if I stood between the door. I'm moving from one room to the next. You know, it's a certain disquiet, discomfort. But that's what makes life exciting.
How do we not wait until the end? And I say that because I was at the end of getting up at 3:30 in the morning. You know, why couldn't I have made this decision a year before? You know what I'm saying? I guess there are a lot of people who are probably stuck in a rut at work or relationship, whatever, and they're like, I just can't move. How do we move sooner?
The hardest part of change is not thinking it, it's moving.
Oh,
It's
physical.
the feet. It's the walking the talk. It's I'm going to do it. Just, you know, we talk about I need to change. Well, you only change by changing.
Right.
I mean, it's just that simple. You know, you only make a move when you decide I'm going to make the move. And that's a tough call, because we're never quite sure when the right time is. And that's why I think we need to be careful not to have a lot of regrets about movement, or about, oh, I should have done this earlier. It's like, no, it's okay. There's an acceptance that it's all right. It's good out.
Absolutely. It's always
Great
a
to be with you,
pleasure.
Whitney.
You too.
I love you. Great to
love
be
you
with
too.
you.
Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much. So glad
And
you're
thanks
part of
again
the
for being a part of my office.
show. I love it. It's perfect.